How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of Frankenstein. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. Well, we've warned you.
You have been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that dissects the Frankenstein film series minute by minute. I'm Tom Lang.
And I'm Bill Evenson. We're going to talk about minute 64 of Universal's 1931 James Whale film Frankenstein.
Indeed.
We are getting down to it. It's still villagers and torches and
Incessant yapping.
monsters and incessant yapping, much like our podcast.
There we go.
Yeah.
That never gets old.
My first note about this minute has already been undercut because my first note is literally, you can see it here, Ludwig with an exclamation point.
Yes.
Because I thought this is the first time we see him. But I think you're right. We did see him in the last minute. But the point still stands. Everybody is all in
Yep.
at the same location.
In the mountains.
Yeah.
They've given up the lake. They've given up the woods.
Yep.
The crevices and ravines.
Well, there might be some crevices. No, I don't have no idea. But you know, as it plays out in this minute, we find out they're right. You know, the guy they're looking for. And again, you know, not to rewind a lot of weeks, not sure why they're looking for this guy, but they're right. We found him.
He owes them $20.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. Well, it's 1931, so 20 bucks. That's pretty meaningful. You could split that between all those guys, and they could have
a decent meal.
A decent meal each. A lot of we start with a lot of close-ups of the villagers.
Well, we start with Henry and the monster are starting to struggle.
Well, that's right. They're still struggling. That's
Starting
right.
to struggle. Henry calls for help one more time.
Yep.
Then we go back to the villagers. They hear him. Ludwig's, listen.
It's Ludwig, definitely.
Says, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no mistaking Michael Mark when you see him.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
like Clint Howard or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna
Kind of like Clint Howard.
Kind of looks
Yeah.
like Clint Howard. You're not going to mistake him for anybody else.
No.
He says, listen. And they realize it's Frankenstein, and they realize the direction from which it's coming.
Yep.
Belmore, or the Burgermeister, again, now he leads the charge. This way.
Yeah.
Is he a buffoon still? What is
I
he?
have no, I don't,
opinion
I
at
watched,
this point?
I watched it just now with that thought in mind, and no, I don't see anything in this minute that tells me that.
Particularly buffoonish.
Yeah, no, he doesn't, he's fine.
He's fine.
Do we even ever see him again? This might be his last appearance. But the
think
problem
he's
is
around
it's
the
going to
bottom.
be difficult to make these determinations because he's now part of a mob.
He's just part of a mob. He sort of blends in.
I mean,
with
do we see
everybody.
Michael Mark again?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, but by the time they get to the next minute, everybody has just become, like you say, a collective mob. Sort of this faceless mass of guys in fedoras with torches. So,
Guys in fedoras, as is their traditional tracht
yes.
for the Schuhplattler festival. We do see, interestingly enough, wow, this is a good segue, a bunch of close-ups of the villagers. So Ludwig says, listen, and then we see like 5 shots of extras. And at least one of them looks like he's in a Western.
I was going to say,
he's possibly a Spaniard.
John Bull's brother.
Yeah, he's either right out of a Western set or I'm going to go possibly a Spaniard
He's got this
or maybe
huge 10-gallon hat on.
Yeah.
almost comically big.
Yeah,
hat.
that's the guy.
And the little
I can't figure out
Bull's
what
mustache and
Does he have a little Bull's mustache?
He got a little Bull's mustache. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Then we cut back to Clive
and
Karloff fighting and
come to blows.
Clive is rolling around on the floor on a lit
on
torch.
top of a flaming torch.
Yeah, if I guess I don't know how. I guess fibers in clothing have changed. I guess maybe I just feel like you'd be more flammable than these guys because nobody's on fire in this minute. It doesn't seem possible.
Well, he's got like those wool tweedy suit coat and then those jodhpurs on.
The jodhpurs. So the jodhpurs are not flammable.
Are not flammable.
He just rolls over that thing a couple times. And it's not like he rolls over it to put it out. He's rolling around in the fire.
Well, but he then tosses it aside, which
That's
I
true.
think it was not planned necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's not out of character.
Yep.
It just, it's like, oh shit, just shoves it off.
Yeah, none of this is a problem.
No.
There is a torch in the scene, and
that was knocked
he
out
got
of his
thrown
hand,
into it. It's
yeah.
actually a plus.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. And then we have the worst knockout punch in movie history.
Missed it by that much.
Karloff raises his arms up
Yeah,
and then
he
brings
makes
them
he
down.
does that same sort of double fist that he's
Yeah,
done
it's a great
before.
movie punch. Don't do this in real life,
Yeah,
folks.
I
You
know,
break at
this-
least one of your fingers no
yeah,
matter what you're
yeah.
trying to do.
And
And then Clive lies down and
I
then
think
rolls over.
It's supposed to appear as though he was struck in the head.
Yep.
But he's certainly a frame-by-frame analysis shows that it's not
the
even
worst.
close.
Yeah, it's everything we're talking about takes at least 5 to 10 seconds to pull off. It's just, it should be, there's not even a sound effect, of course, like
'Cause not
like
like
we
now
talked about
we're
the
in
Indiana Jones
boom,
movies. Yeah,
like
where it
a
would
cannon going off.
or somebody punch a watermelon or whatever the hell, or a cannon going off. Yeah, there you go. And that's, again, not something I noticed before we did this podcast.
Yeah, I didn't really either.
Yeah.
You tend to notice things
Yeah.
when you're looking at it intimately.
Yep. And if you're watching it in one sitting, there's two guys struggling. That's happening.
Yep.
Tony. Where did I get Tony from? Where the hell did Tony come from? Colin? Clive? I don't know what I was going to say. Clive? Tony. That's bizarre. So Tony gets up. Oh, my. What movie is this again? Tony. What was I thinking? But anyways, Clive gets up.
Like 3 weeks ago, I mentioned my friend Tony, but I don't know what that was.
Clive is on the ground. He gets back up.
Yeah.
You know, there's a struggle
There's a
going
lot of-
on.
yeah,
So
well, like we
as you're
said,
watching it, you don't
This is the action adventure portion.
you don't think about it. Yeah. What was I thinking? There's another one. I think we're gonna. It's a different movie when we get to it later, where somebody punches somebody, and then they cut to the opposite angle, and it breaks the 180 rule.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, wait a minute, his arm is going the wrong way or whatever. So it's similar to that. You don't notice it in the moment. You have to watch it a few times before you even give a shit. And in this one, it's not like I thought he punched him. They were just all struggling, and I didn't really think about what was happening.
Yeah, he gets knocked out.
Yeah, at some point he's knocked out.
Yeah, it just has to happen.
Yeah.
For the story to continue the way it does.
They thought they were filming a scene where Karloff punched him and he got knocked out, and that's just not what happened. But it's fine.
It's fine. I
don't care.
It can't have been easy for Boris to do a lot of this stuff.
Yep.
Famously uncomfortable costume and makeup that hinders his motion. And then there's all these bullshit things about he had a steel spine so he couldn't bend, and that's bullshit. You watch the movie and it's pretty evident that he's very physical.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't doubt those boots were heavy. Were they 13 pounds a piece? Maybe.
That seems like a lot.
It seems exaggerated, but my dog weighs 12 pounds, and I'm like, yeah, maybe.
I'm gonna say the big one upstairs, 45 pounds.
Oh, mine?
That's the one upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yours. Your new dog.
Yeah.
Is 3 boots. Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
She'd
Maggie,
tear you to pieces. So.
Maggie would be like 6 boots. Then.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anyways, I agree.
So cut him a little bit of slack. It can't have been easy to do a lot of these stunts.
Right. It's an interesting sort of segue, because to me in this minute, what happens is we're just beginning what is the opening of this book that's sitting right next to you, Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff by Greg Menk. He does almost a whole chapter, it seems like, about I almost want to say the abuse that Whale inflicts upon Karloff, and
I think that's a fair term.
Is
abuse.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, so and then the next minute we're going to talk. Next week we're going to talk more about this.
Yeah.
But this is where it starts.
Yeah.
Karloff is, as we've said before, is he even shorter than Clive?
He's shorter than
an inch
Clive.
shorter than
Yeah, a
Clive. He's
couple
not a
inches.
big monster.
Yeah.
He's got padding on. All this talk about the weight of the boots and all that stuff almost sort of obscures the actual point. He's encumbered.
Yes.
He's got a bunch of shit on him that isn't going to make this easier.
Right.
And now he's got to do these stunts. And Clive's role is to just sit there.
Like a sack of potatoes. Yeah.
He's
Dead
a
weight.
sack. Oh, that's going to be next week. I had sack of potatoes.
Did you?
Sack
Oh, look
of
at that.
potatoes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
we'll see that. He is now, and he will be next week. He's
Yeah.
a sack of potatoes.
It's dead weight. It's it's like we're parents.
Yeah,
You've had a
right.
child that didn't want to do something or go somewhere, and
That's right.
you try to manhandle them into.
That's a good point.
It's not easy.
Yep.
And they're just a kid.
It's a really good point.
Full-grown adult
Yep.
Pick them up off the ground and carry them. That's not an easy thing to do.
It's not only not easy, but it's not easy to do it and then also portray that as easy. Yeah, so that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, he's trying
here for sure.
Yeah, make it look like the monster is much stronger than the
you're
actor is.
You're a monster.
He's the strength of 10 men, after all.
I had that for next minute too.
Strength of 10 men.
It did. Strength of 10 men. All right, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Well,
so
anyway,
he picks him. Yeah, but either way, this is where that abuse starts.
Yes.
And
I think it's much more so in the next minute.
Yeah, so we'll probably cover that more in the next minute. I'll just say, by way of a preview for next minute, I don't know how I feel about how Mank portrays it in the book and how it really comes across in the movie and what I think about it in real life.
Well, we'll get there.
Preview for next week.
Stay tuned.
Turn the hounds loose.
Well, before that, there's a great deep focus shot.
Okay.
Of it's the same. I think it's the same angle, the same set where Clive was in the foreground climbing the rock while everybody was marching up the hill. Mm-hmm. Now that it's the opposite, and Belmore, the Burgermeister, is in the foreground, kind of enters the shot, and you see the monster carrying Henry up the hill.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's a great
This
shot.
whole time I'm like, what are you talking about? Yes, you can see him in the background.
Yes, it's a great deep focus shot.
I love that too. Yeah, that's really good.
It looks great. The sky isn't wrinkled. Everything about it is perfect.
And
except for the fact that it's obviously a dummy.
Is it?
It is, because his arms are kind of weird.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say, is it, like I didn't know it was a dummy. I just didn't notice it was obviously a dummy. Now you've ruined it for me.
I ruined the whole movie.
Oh, the whole movie's
we're done.
Yeah, that's right.
Goodbye, folks. Thanks for playing.
Frankenstein ended in 63 minutes. Now we're in stupid movie time where it's dummies being thrown around. But I like that shot, and I didn't notice it was a dummy because it is more about the whole shot.
It doesn't ruin it for me that it's a dummy.
Yeah, you didn't ruin it.
No, it's a great shot.
And that's where he says, "Turn the hounds loose."
Turn the hounds loose, and then of course there's close-ups of them releasing the hounds.
All right, so this is what I have to say about the hounds. 2 hounds take off immediately.
Yeah.
They do exactly what you want them to do.
Yes.
I mean, we could talk about that too. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know what you want hounds to do. I think generally, and one guy in this movie is wearing jodhpurs, so I'm going to say generally what you want the hounds to do is to help you to find your prey.
Yes.
So you can take care of them. Yeah. I think you shoot them, I guess. You kill the fox with the
gun.
gun.
I guess so. Yeah.
So in this case, I'm thinking the goal is just to get the hounds to get to this guy. To give him trouble until we can get there and I guess kill him. I don't know what we're going to do. Corner him. I don't know. So 2 of them take off immediately. A third follows fairly quickly. And then the 4th hound sort of traipses along without a care in the world.
That would be the dog that I would have owned.
Yeah, exactly. This is yeah. And Jackie actually pointed this out. She's like a dog person, I think. So maybe that has something to do with it. But she pointed it out to me because not only does this dog with like floppy ears and the whole thing is just sort of floppy, lovely,
big, doofusy.
Like it's sort of So let's assume I think these are all the same breed.
They're
all bloodhounds. And the first 2 are gonna murder this guy, and the 4th one is like a little sweetie who wants a treat. You know, and even turns back to the people that are approaching as if to say, are we still doing? What are we doing? You know, like that dog. And then what I think is fascinating about it is, in this minute, we cut to another shot. We cut to, and I don't know, it's going to be hard to talk about all the things that happen here, but we cut to the windmill. Which is important. Yes. But in that same shot, you have 2 hounds bolting up the hill, a third one following pretty closely behind, and a 4th one traipsing along with flopping ears. It's as if they did this deliberately because one of them's on in the set and one of them's on location.
Yeah.
So it's like they couldn't have made it work better. These are actual characters in the film.
These dogs have actual personalities now. Yeah, absolutely.
So it works out perfectly. That dog doesn't even. He barely kind of hops up the hill.
He's the dog that went on to be Jed Clampett's dog on the Beverly Hills.
Yeah, he kind of does. That's what he looks like. Yeah, perfect.
Or on Hee Haw. Or something.
That's right. And once you see it, I can't unsee it.
You don't unsee it.
It's perfect.
No.
Yeah, that 4th dog.
Yeah, I did have
the 3rd one is like, I wish I was fast as the first 2.
Yeah.
But the 4th one is like, whatever we're doing, whatever you guys are doing, I'm coming. I'm not going to sleep, but I don't see what the big hurry is.
You're in such a rush.
No rush.
Yeah, I had made a note, but not as detailed as
That's fine. Yeah, well, I think it is fascinating that actual dynamic lasts between two shots.
Two shots that were probably filmed quite a bit apart. Yeah,
probably not even the same. Maybe not even the same
dogs.
Yeah, same. You would think not even the same dogs, but maybe that's why it would work out that way. But not to I glossed over the point.
That
we're at the windmill.
Yes.
Finally, there's a windmill in this movie.
And Frederick Kerr should be standing outside looking at his watch, tapping his foot like,
I
told you from day one he was at a windmill.
Going to be at the windmill. I knew it. I knew it.
Me and my goiter are never wrong.
That's right. My lucky goiter. Yep. Do you have anything about the windmill, or the next minute's all windmill?
Well, it's a great process shot. You can kind of see where the matte line is. The first floor is real. The rest of it's a model that is matted in.
I'm learning this. I didn't even notice.
I mean, it's not bad. It's a good effect.
I guess.
I'm not saying it's
good
bad.
for me. For my old eyes.
John P. Fulton was the famous special effects wizard at Universal. Would go on to do some amazing things in Invisible Man. Bride of Frankenstein. There's some flawless stuff in that.
Yep.
Whether it fits the movie or not is up for debate. I love it, but it's amazingly done.
That's an interesting, put a tack in that one. Whether something fits in Bride of Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein is everything.
Sort of, yeah.
Everything
fits. And Cleo E. Baker.
What?
Cleo E. Baker did the miniatures.
It's a great name.
He built the model of the windmill.
God.
And he made stuff.
I can't believe I got stuck with Bill Evenson. What happened to me? Cleo E. Baker is fucking great.
Watching the baseball game last night. For those listening at home, this was recorded.
I'm sorry you had to watch that.
This is recorded after the first game of the American League playoffs that we. Our home team, the Twins, have done great this year.
Best they've had in decades.
Yeah, but were clobbered by the fucking Yankees last night, so even the dogs are upset.
Yep. Pissed off. Don't mention it again.
There's a guy, Didi Gregorius. Like, if I had another kid, that's their name.
That's what you should really do, is name your kids first and last name, whatever the hell comes into your head.
Yep.
Just roll some dice. D.D. Gregorius.
D.D. Gregorius. I thought, that's great.
There's no such name. I had to.
John Fulton himself had 253 credits from 1928 to 1966. Won 2 Oscars.
For what?
One for the 10 Commandments.
Excellent.
Yep. And one for a Danny
Which you can totally see those shots, but they're great.
Well, yeah, but they're still, it's still pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And then another for a Danny Kaye movie, Wonder Man, where he plays 2 parts, but they actually, for the 40s, this was pretty amazing, where they walk around each other.
Okay.
Nowadays, you don't think twice about it. It's all computer, digital. But this was, a photochemical process that you had to do.
Yeah, we talked about it in that Karloff thing. That one was really good.
Yeah.
How they did that. But yeah, Yep. I like. It's interesting because that idea of putting two of the same actor into a shot seemed to work better in that photochemical process in the 30s, and then when we see it in the 80s, it looks like shit.
Shitty, yeah.
And nowadays it's CGI, so it usually looks just fine.
Yeah.
It's like that idea took a dip. Like Marty McFly doesn't look quite right when he meets Marty McFly. But when Karloff met Karloff, it was fucking flawless. So I don't know why. I guess maybe black and white makes it.
Might have, yeah. Well, even things like on.
I guess if I knew how they did it, maybe I'd.
Well, I do.
I kind of do.
You really want a detailed description.
Yeah.
But even things like on the Munsters, where Fred Gwynne would play 2 parts, it was usually pretty seamless.
Yeah.
I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched, when they were their evil sister or cousin or whatever it was, usually looked pretty
yeah,
darn
that's true.
But you get into the 70s and 80s, like you said, it just all of a sudden you get matte lines all over the place.
I haven't mentioned Doctor Who in a while.
Well, all right, here it comes. I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
In the 70s is when they start this, they call it CSO in England anyway, the green screen shit. Yeah. And it at least then is a TV technology, so it's already worse. Chroma key, yeah, there you go. And they love it, and they use it left and right. So a lot of the special effects from the era of Doctor Who that is my favorite era, the 70s just looks like shit
like crap,
for that whole decade. Anything that starts with a 1970 something, it all looks like shit.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you watch a documentary about it, you kind of go, oh, I get how they did this.
Right.
And so since it's simple enough to get how to do it, they did it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, probably.
Well, look at like a show like Land of the Lost.
Yeah, right.
Marty Cry, yeah. Well, anyway, that's enough said. I mean,
I got to keep going back to that Karloff film, which now I can't think of the name.
Black Room.
The Black Room. When you film two actors, you ever seen the movie Heat? You've seen the movie Heat?
Yeah.
This was the first movie, in my mind, that had Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in it together.
Yeah.
They had been in Godfather Part 2 in two separate eras.
Yeah.
So they weren't even in the same time period. So,
right.
But in Heat, you never actually see them together. And I remember years after that movie came out, I saw a photograph of that scene. A photograph. Listen to the way I'm talking. A picture of them in that diner.
Like a frame.
A frame of it, whatever. Yeah, of them together in the diner on opposite ends of that table. And I think I posted it on Facebook or something saying, look, they actually were together. Because if you watch that movie, I didn't know. Because in the way you make a movie is you film over the shoulder shots. That's just normal the way you think it would go.
Yeah.
So I didn't even really know for sure if Al Pacino and Robert De Niro were
even
in the same room. Until I saw that picture, because if you watch that movie, you could film it with extras.
Yeah.
Point being, The Black Room takes advantage of that style more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to do 1,000 process shots.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is when your special effects get too
invasive.
Yeah, invasive.
Too prevalent.
Very nice, yes.
Yeah.
You should film it as if, and if you watch that movie trying to spot how they did it, you can figure it out.
Well, yeah,
but the point is, you're not trying to do that.
It's not in your face about it. You're watching the film. It's not going to pull you out of it.
Yep. And this took me 15 minutes to get back to. I didn't know this was a process shot.
Okay.
I thought they were at the windmill. So what they did is I didn't know.
Yeah.
So they just built something that's like the first floor of the windmill?
Yeah, it's like on the location, the first level. And then from the just above the doorway up is a model. And later on you'll see.
Yeah, later on.
It'll look a little more. But it's and that's not to take anything.
Should I be embarrassed that I haven't noticed this before?
No. It's not to take anything away from it because it still looks great.
Yeah.
It's still a great angle, that kind of slightly up angle of it, and then the dogs coming into the foreground from the right.
Yeah, I can picture it now, definitely.
Yeah, it's a lovely model. Cleo did
that was a really normal way to do a lot of stuff.
Oh, sure.
Citizen Kane, of course, we've talked about it before, is just full of that. Like the whole movie is one big special effect.
Every shot almost.
And when you first watch it, you don't think there's any special effects
really
in it. And then you watch the Ebert commentary, and he tells you what all of them are.
Yeah.
Kane minute coming soon.
Yeah, there we go. Orson Welles minute. Then we'd have to do The Other Side of the Wind. Oof.
Not for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
We'd be
ready to look at it.
Let's face it, we're going to bequeath this podcast to somebody else long before
Our
that.
sons will be doing it.
We're not doing Ghost of Frankenstein, let alone.
Yeah, well, we're not going to make it that far. Our sons will.
We'll be lucky to make it through Bride.
Yeah, I'm hoping to. Anyway, the scene.
Our sons. That's kind of funny. Picture our sons.
Because they have like zero interest.
We're standing over them. Just
talk. Just say something.
Talk about Frankenstein.
Ben might be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he grew up with it, obviously. So
Beck's got, a paragraph he could tell you about Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And then he'd get bored.
Yeah, that'd be about it.
Yep.
The minute ends with the monster entering the windmill and slamming the door shut. So.
And we'll have more to say about that door slamming shut next week on Frankenstein Minute. Brought to you by Patreon.
Brought to you by Patreon.
Brought to you by our listeners.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we thank all of you who are Patreon subscribers. And Bill, how does one become a Patreon?
It's really simple. All you have to do is just sign up at patreon.com.
And how much? How much does it cost? A lot of money to do this?
It costs. It's prohibitively expensive. If you just want to be a friend of the podcast and just show your support for us and get each episode a day early and access to our bonus content, that's only $2 a month.
$2 a month.
So if you think about it, every month we do at least 4 podcasts. We do roughly 52 podcasts a year.
Yep.
And you get all of those a day early and access to bonus content for $2 a month. That's $24
a year. That's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. And now I'm trying to do math. So that's
bear
50
with
cents
us.
a week, I guess.
Something
is that
like
right?
that.
50 cents a week. But if you don't want to do that, you can give us more. That's fine.
That's your only other option.
Yeah, $2 or more.
Or
well, that's
more.
actually true. In order to get the
To get
benefits,
the-
it's a minimum of $2.
$2,
We
yeah.
do have Patreons that pay more.
Yeah. So
And thank you especially,
Yes.
Jeff, for paying more.
see, and you get your own shout out.
Everybody who pays more gets a shout out,
There we
Jeff.
go.
So thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.